Making any new dish boils down to two things: choosing what ingredients we're going to use and choosing the cooking technique that's going to bring out the best in those ingredients. Let's talk about all of the cooking techniques at our disposal and what they do to ingredients in different circumstances so that we can make those decisions for ourselves.
Okay, so let's split the world of cooking techniques into wet and dry. Over on the wet side, you've got poaching, simmering, and boiling. For all of these, you're going to be submerging the item that you're cooking into a liquid, whether that's water or something more interesting. Then you've got steaming. Since steam is a little bit hotter than boiling water, that's going to cook your food a little bit faster. On the dry side, you've got baking and roasting. Sometimes those terms are used a little bit interchangeably. Sautéing and stir frying. Stir frying can be considered kind of sautéing, usually in a wok, oftentimes at a higher heat. Pan frying, where you've got a little bit of oil in the pan, that's submerging kind of the bottom part of the item that you're cooking. And then deep frying, where the item that you're cooking is totally submerged into hot oil. And you've also got broiling and grilling. For broiling, the heat source is actually going to be above the item that you're cooking, and for grilling, it's going to be below. Since heat rises, the same amount of heat on a grill will cook an item faster than in a broiler. And that's also why broilers are often a lot hotter than grills, because they have to be in order to cook the item. Since heat doesn't go down, it rises. And then right in the middle of the wet and dry cooking methods, kind of both, are braising and stewing. Braising is for portion sized items, like a portion sized piece of meat, for example, and stewing is for bite sized items. And usually with a stew, there's going to be a little bit more liquid at the end. But for both of those, they use a dry heat cooking method to sear and to build flavor, to build richness by browning, and then a low and slow wet cooking method. And browning really is the key difference between the wet cooking methods and the dry cooking method. And that's the reason you may choose a dry heat cooking method or a wet cooking method, because browning won't happen where there's water. Where there's water, your temperature is capped at about 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, browning doesn't happen until at least 350. So, browning is only going to happen on the dry side of the cooking methods. Even for deep frying, even though you're submerging it in a liquid, that liquid is not water. It gets a lot hotter than water and it browns food just like the other dry heat cooking methods. And so that's the reason that it's useful to divide all of the cooking methods into wet and dry. If you're cooking something lighter and more delicate, then you probably don't want to create a lot of browning on that item, because that's going to obscure the natural flavor of the item. Whereas if you want those hearty flavors and you're really building a lot of that kind of savory umami flavor, then you want to go for a dry heat cooking method. So that's all of the cooking methods. Wet and dry, and browning is the key.